Hey guys, I'm John. So, I made a thing. Hey guys, let me set the mood. Alright guys, so today on the episode we're going to be talking about IR receiving and IR blasting to control a solenoid that moves a gate latch. It's extremely simple and I'm going to take you step by step on how I did this thing. Okay, if you're unfamiliar with IR receiving and IR blasting, go on YouTube, look it up. It's extremely simple, but the best way to explain it is it's a remote just like your TV. Alright guys, so the magic of this is IR receiving and IR blasting. That's what it's called, IR blaster and IR receiver. Easier way to explain that is a remote control. So what we're going to do is we're going to take an IR receiver. This is an IR receiver, okay? This particular one is a TS-OP4838, okay? The way this works is you have an output, a ground, and a VCC. VCC is your power. So we're going to just stick it inside of our breadboard. This is a breadboard. Breadboard is set up in rows and columns. You hook up your negative here, and it runs on this row here, this top row. Positive runs on this row. Your columns are ran like this. They're divided by numbers this way. Your positive and negative are there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this TS-OP4838 IR receiver and I'm going to plug it into 3 random spots in these columns. Okay. There we go. Like I said a second ago, this particular one has an output, a ground, and a voltage in. Okay, this is all low voltage stuff on this end. All right, to run this system, I'm going to use a StainSmart 2-channel 5-volt relay. Okay, that's this guy here. Okay, these relays are what connect your high voltage. So I'm going to power it with low voltage and connect a high voltage circuit, 110 in this particular case. All right, so from there, we're going to use a capacitor. A capacitor controls the wavelengths that the IR sends. IR blast sends in a wavelength. So what I need to do is control that. And I'll show you what happens if you don't have this. Then we're also going to need a resistor. In this case, we're going to use a 10 ohm resistor. Okay. To power it, like I said, it's a 5-volt system. I took an old cell phone charger and I hacked the end of it off. Okay. Just threw a little solder on each of the ends to make them a little stiff. So first thing I'm going to do after I stick in my IR receiver, I'm going to power the board. Negative in there. Positive in there. Like I said, these run, positive and negatives run this way. All these other ones run this way. All right, so from there I've got to send power to my 5-volt side. So I'm going to use a male-to-male jumper wire. I'm going to power it there and power it there. Okay. Then I'm going to use my negative male-to-male jumper wire and I'm going to go to my ground, to my ground. Okay. Everybody understand what's going on? Positive, negative, out. Negative, positive, they jump out over to here. Next thing I'm going to do is put a resistor on the outpost. Okay. Push that into my breadboard. That resistor will go to another random slot. Beautiful. Now we have this system hooked up. I still have to power my board. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a male or a positive male to female jumper wire. VCC on this is positive. GND is ground. And then you have 1 and 2. You have 1 and 2. We're just going to control one of them. Okay, so right now I'm going to hook up my VCC, which is my power, on that outpost. Okay. Then I'm going to hook up my ground. I'm going to use this gray wire to hook up the signal that's going to be sent. So it's going to go from the opposite end of the resistor into one of these pins. So whenever I send an IR signal out of a regular remote, it will do something to this. Hear that chatter? That chatter is no good. So the chattering that you heard from the relay was the IR signal not being sent right, okay? It's annoying because it wasn't closing the circuit. Chatter. Anyways, it's done. That's where the capacitor comes into play. The capacitor has polarity, okay? The side with a band on it is going to be your negative. The blank side is going to be your positive. In this case, I'm using 470 UF and 5 volt capacitor, or 50 volt capacitor, excuse me. To control the chatter, that's what this is for. So, as you remember, we have our out right there. We have our ground, and we have our 5 volt in. This is just acting like a button. When you push that button, it connects this together, connects those currents together. We're using this to mellow it out because we're sending it in infrared signal. Negative will go into the negative side, positive will go into the out. So now when we send an IR signal to the IR receiver, it sends a constant. It's going to click on, hold for about a second, and then click off. Now I'm going to show you a close-up of the breadboard. All right, so we have our negative in, our positive in. Negative and positive leads are going to the StainSmart 2-channel relay. They're also going to the IR receiver. Jump over, you've got your ground, your VCC, which is your power, and 5 volts on this side. Okay. From there, we have our out. When this button gets pressed or it receives an IR signal, it's going to go through the capacitor and mellow out that signal, go through the resistor, go over to our relay. Now that we have all this part figured out, we're going to move on to our solenoid. Slide this over. This is our solenoid. This is an electromagnetic solenoid. You can find hundreds of different kinds online. This is just the one I had on hand. The way this one works, you have a ground, and you have a hot leg. Once this gets power, it has a shaft that moves up and down. Once it gets powered, it controls these magnets inside here and sucks that bad boy back in. So what I did is I went to my local Goodwill and found just an adapter that was a 12 volt, runs off coaxial in this case. This is just for a visual aid. These are called Gator grips, Gator clips. These just have little clips on them, that way I can do stuff real quick, connect in and out. And I'm going to run an extension. So now whenever I connect these two, it completes the circuit and sucks that solenoid in. It'll stay charged as long as this connection is made. I cannot pull that out. Once it's released, this moves freely. So the whole point of this thing, the relay module, is to connect this to pull down a gate latch. All right guys, so inside the room, I have the power supply to the solenoid. I also have the power supply to the 5 volt relay and the IR receiver. Okay. Now it comes up the wall and follows along to the other side of the door. Now on the other side of the door, I have a project box. You can buy these locally anywhere. Inside of there, I have all of my components as far as my capacitor, relay board, the whole nine. The switch right here is just a 5 volt kill switch in case I want to disarm the system for whatever reason. It's all bundled up in this material here, this wire tie stuff. To open and close the door, I actually have it on just a simple $10 Home Depot screen door opener. The wires run along here. You've got your positive and your negative, just the same. Comes up to the bracket that I showed you that I made. From the bracket, there's already a hole inside the gate latch. Ran a zip tie through the bracket, through the gate latch, And then whenever somebody sends the IR signal, it does the same thing as it did on the bench top, pulls it down and releases. Because of the added weight of this piston here, it kept the latch open. So what I did is I just put a simple little spring on there. I wrapped it with some 550 cord to kind of dampen the sound of the metal hitting metal. Okay, now right here, you have these 3 wires. These 3 wires are sent to the outside of the bookcase. These are your IR receiver wires. Like I said earlier, you can extend them as far as you need to. So they go from the outside of the bookcase, inside, run up and into our box. These 2 wires, these 2 cables right here are for the book latch. This one is for the actual book latch that gets used on a regular basis. And this one right here with the baling wire is just a backup tied to a washer on the back side. So if this one were to fail and the power goes out, I still have a washer that I could still access the store from. Warning, this stuff is dangerous. You're dealing with electricity. I don't know your local codes. I don't know your state codes. I'm not licensed. I'm not sure if this is 100% correct. This is just a way that I made it work with the stuff that I have at my house. I do not condone you doing this. Do not do it. This is informational only. So, with that being said, this is how it works. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you like and subscribe to the channel. Leave a comment in the comment section below and let me know if you guys have done something different. If you have, I'd love to hear it, love to see it. Send me links, whatever you have. And we're going to make another video, and I hope you guys stick around for that.